everybody, and welcome back to our last Q&A of the day. Hi, Suzette. Hi, Debbie J. There's other people there. If you're new and you haven't been to one of these, it's Heather and Tracy, your co-hosts of this summit. Thank you all so much for being on and watching the lives. And if you're watching the replays, we really appreciate it. And we are on today is our last one, our last Q&A, and it's starring my co-host, who has a presentation in about circular patterns and other things. And before we get started, we're just going to thank our sponsors as we always do. Our event sponsor is
KB Riley, Karen Burniston. It is the same company. And again, if you go onto her site, trust me, the pop-up dies that she does are, to me, it's so much fun, so much fun. And she even sold me to buy them to bring them into for my clients. And yes, believe it or not, I'm gonna have to make a card or two to show people how to, you know, how they work. Anyways, and yeah, it's just I find there's such a good variety, and I love how if you buy one main die to, again, I'm gonna stick with the house, that's what's in my head. You pop it open, you've got this house that pops up, then she has other dyes that go with it. Okay, so you can keep that using that main dye and then changing it around to a summer house, a beach house, a Christmas house, a gingerbread house, dog house. There's so many different ways you can use that same dye. So, and also when I was watching her and she was folding them, they seem to go really nice and flat. I was noticing too, which is good. So,
yeah. So check out her
not as
video
flat as a
because she
flat
showed us.
card, but it was neat.
Yeah, she did a live with us on Thursday, and she showed a ton of her
Yes,
cards. So check that out as
yes.
well. But our
Mhm.
sponsor of the day is Tracy. Tracy's company is not Scrapbooking Fun Summit. That is our co-created event. So we do Scrapbooking Fun Summit and Scrapbooking Fun Circle. But Tracy's company is the Embellished Connections, and the Embellished Connections is a Canadian-based virtual-ish in-person online store in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I got it the right way this time. And Tracy's great at helping anybody in Canada bring in supplies. It's a great way to reduce all the shipping and handling and tariffs and dealing with all that. Tracy can bulk order and do that. She loves to find the unusual, and she loves to service her clients. And we know Suzette's here, and she's one of Tracy's clients. So if you're in Canada, there's also, if you're VIP, there's a coupon code in the VIP package that you can use to do a discount on things. So take it out, check it out. If you're not in Canada, when Tracy's not choking,
Sorry.
she's willing to just call her and she's willing to help out. Sometimes the exchange rate might actually go in your favor these days as the dollar drops down, especially if you're kind of close. So it's not exclusively to Canada. It's just that Tracy is in Canada. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
And now Tracy's the star on this one. And Tracy did circular patterns. But for those who don't know Tracy a little bit, we're going to, yes, Debbie, it's time for shenanigans. I can say that. Tracy, we know where you are in the world because I just told anybody. What are you, a card maker, scrapbooker, multimedia person? What do you love to do?
I am definitely a scrapbooker. Okay. I love photos. I really do. And I know how valuable is what I say, is how valuable a photo is in the memory. Um, I will put some mixed media into some of my layouts. Every now and then I make a card, but scrapbooking is the passion.
Good
There's
morning
no
from
doubt.
Australia. Good morning. It's Sunday in Australia now. So good morning and thank you for joining us. Um,
Hello.
yes, Tracy is a star. She is. And what got you started? How did you enter into this world of scrapbooking?
Well, my good old friend, who I've known since we were 5 years old, she I guess the Creative Memories rep introduced herself to my friend, and my friend contacted me and said, "You know what? I have a feeling you would like this." And I looked at it at the time and I was like, "Nope, no interest." And then when things came out, because that was a long time ago when the papers were just white, right? And you're putting pictures on white, and I was like, "Nope." But then when some other brands started up, and I remember the first one being My Mind's Eye, who uh, Karina had Karina had mentioned earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, and then it caught me. Then I went, whoa, whoa, what are all these colors and patterns and stuff? And then I went, all right, let's start this. And then again, I did obviously like to scrapbook. And then several years ago, that's where it was like, okay, I'm done just buying some of the loot. I just said, well, because again, at the time, the online stuff wasn't around yet. And I was going, I still need something different, something more and different. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and start this company.
I was going to say, what prompted you to start a company? And how many years later?
It did. Sorry, how many years?
How many years later is it? When did you start?
I wish I had a good memory, but do not quote me 100%, but it's got to be like 13 years,
I was going to say it's a decent
something
amount.
like that.
We've
Yeah.
got two Aussies on here. Thank you for waking up and joining us, and definitely catch all the
And
replays. There's some great replays
my good
today.
old friend, I say old friend, just I remember her from last summit there from Brampton because I go, ooh, again, my hometown.
Your hometown is Brampton. And we have people which part of us. I lived in Australia. For those Australians, I lived in Australia for 2 years in Sydney, and I spent 8 months in Melbourne before I moved to Sydney. So I have a little heart for Australia, and I love the fact we have so many Australians on here. And we do have Alicia doing a live tomorrow night from Australia. Tomorrow night for us, Monday morning for you guys. So we do
Yes.
have some of that stuff coming on. So give us a little overview of the project that you did.
All right. All right. Let's start. I find this is not the project necessarily, obviously. These are just, I went and grabbed some pages that I have in my collection. I find scrapbookers see these pages and go, oh, how can I use that? Right? Or they might just stick a picture here and there. And it's like, no, you know what? You could do a lot more with it. Of course, something like this, you could just cut the camera out and use it, but that wasn't the point of this one. So here I just figured, okay, and I went into the circles. Don't know where that came out of my mind, but I said, yep, let's do something different, Trace. So I used like the pattern papers just to show some of these papers how to use them. And I layered, I couldn't stop with one circle. I went with another and another and another. And I don't know, I just had fun. And then as you may know, Heather, because we've been chatting some washi tape today and yesterday, I was using some here to go around the picture to make a frame. Okay, again, more washi tape. And then of
Chipboard.
course me, I love my embellishments. I always have my chipboard. And then also I was showing in some of these, like these are the Tim Holtz, a lot of the windows and doors you may have. I use them with the pattern paper in some of the windows, but then pictures in some of the others. Just again, just to show you how to use you know, your embellishments in different ways. That was the first one I guess I did, but the same concept because we have to do two of these, if we're doing a video. So yeah, just had fun with it all.
They're beautiful. What is your favorite technique that you used on those? I may know the answer, but they don't.
Well, okay, Heather, because I love chipboard, and yes, that's always a favorite piece I like to use. But when you listen to the video, if you hear me struggling, it's because I'm leaving the chipboard blank, like this is a piece of chipboard here, and I'm leaving it blank. Whereas, and that's hard for me. Usually I like to paint it. I foiled it in a different video. I like to ink it, anything. But I went, nope, we're gonna leave it plain. Although, yes, I did put a little dot on one at least just to add something because I went just plain as I could go. But yeah, it was hard for me to do. Sorry, and this the first layout I did. This was chipboard where I did color a couple of the words in. So. So yeah, but I definitely like my chipboard. I do. I'm addicted.
Excellent. Any questions for Tracy and I when you go along? We're going to ask some more. But how do you start a page? So you got a blank piece? Because one of the things we hear
Mhm.
from people, and we've heard it yesterday and today, that some people are just intimidated by the 12 by 12 format. So you're sitting down. What starts for you? Is it the idea? Is it the paper? What stimulates your creativity when you're creating scrapbooking pages?
It's again, it's either or. I'm finding now I'm trying to do it more based on some of the paper. If there's a paper I like, a line I love, I'll grab that, and then it's going, okay, I have to use it. Um, and then so I kind of look at that page and see the colors of the pattern paper because I will always have a pattern and some pattern, may not have the two sheets, but I'll always have a pattern and I'll always have cardstock. And I have to, this is just me, I have to layer things or to mat my photos and that. Um, so I'll have that paper and I'll be like, yeah, what can go with it? And again, even when I say go with it, I will also challenge myself and just say, look, these are rocks. I'm just going to use an example, rock paper. And so you might think, well, I don't go rock climbing or whatever it might be. But I'm like, no, use that paper. I'll challenge myself on with a baby picture, right? Because there's a way you can do it and make it look good. You just have to, I say, throw in other embellishments that will bring that baby. I don't know where I'm getting on this road here, but it's true. But that'll bring out the baby photo. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I get motivated now more if I'm with the paper.
That's good.
Maybe
Marlene
because I don't
starts
have
with the
baby
photo.
pictures to do.
Yeah. Marlene says she starts with the photos, which is that as well,
Well,
right?
and that's yeah, that's totally normal. But see here, when I was doing these, I was trying to show with the busy paper, and I don't know, I just I could have used any pictures on it, but well, here I had cool caterpillar shots. I was like, this was at my front door the whatever this last summer. And I went, oh way. So but again, I've been camping. I could have used that or anything.
Question: what fun things do you like to do when you're not crafting or working? Which doesn't happen often, I don't think.
No, it really, you're right. It doesn't
Aw.
because yeah, when you're doing your own business, you're working a lot.
Well, especially
Um,
yours, because your work is not standard working hours.
yeah. Um, but what do I like to do? Well, Springsteen's in a couple
I was going to
hours.
say she's going to Bruce Springsteen in a couple hours, so don't expect to hear much from
Um,
Tracy this evening if you need help or anything, because she's going to
yeah,
be off at a concert for the app. And she might not have a voice tomorrow, ladies. I might be on my own because she might not. She will show up, but she might not have a voice tomorrow. So she's going to hear. She was supposed to go and hear Bruce Springsteen last year this time, and it got canceled.
yes,
So she's
yes,
going to hear him shortly. So we may or may not have a voice tomorrow. Not
yeah.
tomorrow.
But otherwise, is that honestly like when it's the summer, especially because I love the summer. If I can go camping or if I can just be out there, in the trails, you'd think, I don't know, I love to do that. Sorry, but my phone ringing, if you can hear that.
Nope.
I shut it off. Um, yeah, I love to play cards. Anybody like to play euchre or crib?
So she's never told me that, and I like to play euchre or crib. So see, there you go, Tracy. She's probably sick of me by the time we're done all this and doesn't want to play euchre or crib with me, but that's okay.
Yeah. But you have to play, well, you need more than two people, but if you play crib wars, that's
I
different too.
never played crib rolls. You have to teach me that.
Uh-huh.
How many card people do we
You
have
go.
in here? Fine. Euchre depends if you're playing American euchre or Canadian euchre, which can make a big difference. There are different rules.
Well, you have to talk to me because there's somebody else, some people I know that play a really weird euchre, and if,
There's
anyways, and then
different
there's a
rules.
six-handed euchre I don't like, but oh,
No, but
anyway,
there's even different rules in the four-handed euchre.
yeah,
Uh, So, Susan, have you tried Uno? She says, I like Uno. We're going off topic.
no,
We always do. Have you tried Uno? What is it? It's
Uno.
no, there's an Uno
Oh,
Blast or whatever it is, and it's
yeah,
the
I
cards
know the
have
one that you
different
mean.
sides. It's fun.
Uno's okay, but Phase 10 isn't bad if you
Yeah,
played that. Those are one of those
it is
like
good.
kind of Uno card games. Yeah, Phase 10 and I don't know, there's a lot of things.
Uno, there's one now that we play that has two side cards Uno, and it can be quite
Yeah, I know. I
but
think
I
I
can't
got my
think of the
daughter
name
that
of
for
it right now.
Christmas
So there
last
we're going
year.
off things. How do you store all your scrapbooking? So we'll go to a more applicable question. How do you store all your scrapbooking when they are complete? Do you worry about
Right.
environmental factors?
To be honest, I just I don't I try not to worry about, I won't say anything in the world, but I don't worry about stuff like this, honestly. Now, how do I store them? Um, a lot of people, will keep their albums upright. I will store mine laying down. It doesn't look maybe as nice, but I find that when you're often storing them upright, because some adhesives, it's going to happen, and it all depends on the different weather anywhere you live, right? But of course, I'll say humidity or heat or whatnot. It can, and it doesn't even matter over the years. Some of the adhesive may, become loose. And then I find if they're standing up, they'll often like this here. Some of either the paper will bend over or some of the pieces might slide off. So I find when they're laying down and then you've got the pressure of the other, ones on top, it's keeping things together better. I find that over the years. So that's really how I like to store them, you know,
Do you store them in
if
your
that helps,
basement, or do
Susan.
they actually make it to places where other people can see them?
Yep. Well, I would if I didn't have as many as I have, because now I have to find places to put.
Oh,
I
that's a
don't have a linen closet anymore.
that's a good question though for you who do scrapbook and you create these pages. How often do you like take them out and look at them?
I love to look at them if anybody does. I don't like to bore anybody. As in, like, if they're like, I don't want to look at your pictures.
No.
I know some of my friends are like, oh, come and check this out or whatever. It depends. And then of course, if people say, oh, I want to see a picture, like, depending on your conversations that day, they're like, I would love to see a picture of your dad. What did he look like? So, well, boom, here you go. Right. And then they're like, well, what is all this stuff? Right. It's not, I don't know, just things like that.
And how many pages do you like? Like, do you make pages? Do you make albums? How do you do it? Do you group them together? And if you make an album, what's kind of like the favorite size of an album?
Okay. Most of my albums are 12 by 12, there's no doubt. Um, I do not do things always in order. I know a lot of people, let's say they go on a trip, they do that whole trip day by day, and that's fine. I might, like, so let's say I'm on a scrapbooking weekend or something. I'll do a couple pages of that day, and then I get bored and I have to go on to a different topic. Okay. Because it drives some of my friends nuts. They'll look at my stash at the end of the weekend or the week and they'll be like, what were you working on? I'm like, I don't know, all the different things. And eventually, though, I will get that trip done or whatever it is. And I have to just kind of put them all together before I put them in an album. But then I like to do chipboard albums too,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some of them, of course, they're not 12 by 12, they're all different sizes. Those I'll do some for me and a lot of them either for gifts. Um, yeah, or of course, sometimes just to show people how to make a chipboard album.
Yes, and I've seen some of
Mhm.
yours, which makes sense. So, a
Yeah.
question on how do you store? Oh, where's my pen go? How do you store your cardstock and pattern paper for easy creating? You're
Okay.
a shop, so you might not store it. You just go into your own shop and shop.
No, no, I've got my own stash. Don't you worry. I understand what everybody lives through, right? Again, I will, for storing them, I still store them laying down. And that just goes back for me, believe it or not, from drafting days. I remember we had to store drawings laying down, and it does make sense for the curls and things like that. Now, how do I sort them? I'm wondering if that's also more what you mean,
I was going to
because
ask that question. How do you sort them? Do you sort them?
oh, I do. I do sort them, because that's how I kind of knew where to get these papers between the two. Um, I say
Lines.
Q&As there. I just ran and said, let's grab this sheet and that sheet. So I do have them, the pattern papers divided into, for me, it works in topics, so don't ask me why I still have a ton of baby items that I don't have a baby to do, but one day, not me a baby, but grandma, who knows? Anyways, um, so I'll have like the babies, the school stuff, the trips, holidays, um, whatever, but the seasons, I will sort them out like that. Cardstock, sorry, I do it in colors, if that helps you. I don't know if you wanted
Everybody sorts
anything
differently, I
with
would
that,
think.
Marlene.
So. Have you ever designed a framed scrapbook page like for the wall?
I have. Not much for myself, and there's nothing wrong with it. I do have actually a couple pictures downstairs. I'll tell you what I use for that. But there was once, and Heather in our how we met in this one networking group. There was a woman who had lost her father, and so a few of us went together, and they gave me money to make the page for him or for her, sorry, about for her dad, and get it framed and whatnot. And yeah, I still have a picture of that because I still like that layout.
Oh, you
But
can see. I learned a new word yesterday. You can scrap lift that layout.
well, yeah, scrap lifted.
You
Yeah.
can scrap
But
lift your own
what I
layout.
have downstairs, and so I lose my voice. So there was once I don't have candles, but there was, those candle things that you put on the wall. I know
Gone.
my
That's
words.
gone. It's gone.
Yeah. And so anyways, I like this one. I was going to use it to put on the wall and just decorate. Well, I dropped it and two out of three of those candle holders broke. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Because it's like a wired one. And then I went, put it on the wall. And then I got the wooden pant hangers.
Hmm.
Okay. And I put the page protectors in there. And what I had to do was I score tape it together. So those pants, like that pant hanger is stuck, or the page protector is stuck in there. And then I can switch because I did it sideways, obviously. And then I can switch the layouts. So I have three of them just kind of hanging off of that.
Very
Oh, I'd have
inventive.
to, eh,
Someone said,
I
"Can
know.
you show me a frame one?" I don't think you can run downstairs in time, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, again, I honestly do not have a lot of framed scrapbooking pages. I don't. And
Do any?
it's more for gifts that I've done it.
Yes. Does anyone else do scrapbooking pages and frame them and put them up on your wall? I think that
And
some of your creations make sense, right? You could frame even the ones that you just made if you wanted to.
yeah, and I think the reason why I actually I know the reason why I don't is more because even though I don't do anything in order, when I go to put them in an album, then I want them in order. And then
Hmm.
I'm like, well, that's hanging up, right? And that would drive me nuts.
Well, unless you made a piece just to hang up.
Exactly. So, mhm,
Just to hang up. Make because I see some of what
right.
people make, and I think that would make a beautiful picture. It doesn't need to be put in an album and put away, as opposed to hung up on the wall. Mind you, you could plaster all your walls with the pages you have, and you could wallpaper. There you go.
Then I would, yeah, I need a bigger house. So,
That's, do you have enough pages to wallpaper your house? There you go. There's a challenge. um,
you know what? I'd have to do measurements. I wonder. That's a good question.
12 by
Huh.
12 measuring. You go, I don't know. I have a question on your project that you did, because we always say that there's things that you can take from one project to put to a card and stuff that you can do for a card to a scrapbooking page. So if somebody was looking at it as a card maker, what could they use from what you taught and put into their cards?
Well, again, well, I know some of us, we just spoke with Leah Lawson, but from Pink Fresh there. And here, like just the whole point, sorry, of the washi tape. Okay. Now on a card, you can have it more like this. You can make it look, I'm so lost with my words. I'm sorry, everybody. Um, the ripped edges and that, you can still do that with your card. Some people say, no, it's got to be, cut straight. But again, it's using your washi tape. Very easy to do on your card, right? Um, it- you'll still have the busy papers even in the 6x6 or whatnot, it still gives you ideas. You just have to cut, a smaller circle or oval or something and use that busy paper on your card. So you could still, yeah, use any of this stuff on your card, right? I mean, of course, you can use the chipboard pieces, but I know that adds the weight, which if
If you're going
you're
to mail it.
mailing it out, it can get
If
in
you're
the
not going
way.
to mail it, you could do it.
Sorry, I'm just bringing it back here. Then there's still, the different layering of just the embellishments, right? You can have that, but saying happy birthday or whatever it might be. You can use, do your stamp, and it just shows you different ways to use some of these embellishments that you already have. So
Excellent. There you go.
there.
Susan says, considering how old my scrapbooking supplies are, I probably should frame the first page I meant. Yes, first page she made. Sorry, and created.
Yeah.
How thick is too thick for a completed page for you?
Okay, that's a good question. Because I admit it, I'm a chipboard junkie, so of course, I don't know if this shows here. I will always have the thickness of a chipboard, okay? Or on a lot of my pages. I I I will still pop things up with the 3D dots, but I won't, I guess I don't go too much. Like, I won't go two layers of 3D dots. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Because I know, again, with the pages I do, they're going to be thick enough. And that there, people often ask me, clients often ask me, how many pictures can you get in an album? Or sorry, how many pages in an album? And I'm like, well, it all depends on how thick your pages are, right? So I also know going, okay, Trace, calm down. You want to get enough pages in that album, right? It
Yes.
has happened where like I was in California was it one whole week? Anyways, it might have been like maybe one whole week because it wasn't a long, long time, don't get me wrong. And I had two whole albums of basically Disney. So that's where sometimes it's like you got to calm down, Trace, right?
People love Disney, so um,
Yeah.
I love doing torn pieces on a card, slightly brushed with stamping ink.
Yes. Yep. See, and that's go for it, right? Rip it up. And now you have to rip up your washi tape, like put the washi tape, rip it up, um, mat that, rip it up, and then put it on your card.
And brush it
Okay.
slightly with stamping ink. There you get the
And
distress
yes,
feel.
brush it with, yes.
Try all these different techniques. I mean, that's the aim of what we try to do with this summit is bringing different techniques to do and things that you can do on a card or not a card or just stimulate your um, creativity and challenge you. Suzette's probably still here. We've been challenging Suzette a lot today because she comes and she shows up and we know her. But part of what we were challenging Suzette with was she hadn't taken something out of a box, so she took it out of a box. And then this was with Lisa earlier today, Lisa Horton. And then we ended up challenging Lisa with something. I can't remember what it is we challenged Lisa with. But it's trying something different and trying different things is really what it's all about. Whether you're a craft, whatever you do, it's that challenge of using what you've spent money on. But of course, spend more money, but use what you spent money on and try different techniques and different things.
Heather, there's times where I have challenged myself. Because let's say, there's a color you don't like or you don't, okay, I'll talk about me. No offense, I don't like pink a lot. Okay, it's not my color, or I won't use glitter. I'm not a glittery person. But then I'm like, you know what, Trace? I dare you, and I dare myself, use it. And then I have to,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, and that's
So
right.
dare yourself. Or if you've got something and you're going, okay, I bought this for a reason,
Oh,
use
wow,
it.
we have to celebrate Suzette.
I saw
And I made a card. Yay! So she made a
job.
card. If you haven't been with us all day, Suzette was on our first one with Lisa Horton, and Lisa Horton was talking about her inks, and Suzette said, "I had them, but they're still in
Metallic
the
ink.
box. They're still in the box." So Lisa challenged her to get them out of the box and post getting them out of the box, and then challenged her, and she made a card. So there you go.
And
Um,
I'm looking forward to seeing that card, Suzette. I really am. I want to see it.
oh, you need to challenge yourself. We can challenge you to clean your craft room, but we probably wouldn't be as good at that one. We're much better at helping you use your supplies than challenge you to clean your craft room.
I don't know, you know. And when you have one thing though, you've got this. I'm gonna pretend we all have a stack of paper this big because I know how big our stacks are. But I do clean mine out on a regular basis, like at least once a year, I'm saying, not every day. Um, and then because I will go to some papers saying, you know what? I've had this for how many years? I haven't used it. Either I have to use it now or get rid of it. And get rid of it, everybody. It's okay. I don't mean throw it away. I mean, whether you find you've got kids or whether there's a school you can give it to, a church, the Girl Guides, things like that. Anybody, give it away, or your friends, who knows, might use it. Let things go. It's okay. You will feel better.
Suzette, we want to see your card, and as simple as is, doesn't make any difference. It's
Mm.
funny. This is like, yeah, I'm sure it's beautiful because that's what it is. It's even when for those of you who are VIPs and who were with us last night, Tracy did an exercise on using washi tape and making cards, and I'm gonna talk. But Tracy was like, it's going to be too simple for people. But they really enjoyed doing it because they took out their washi tape, they created cards with it. I did it. Tracy's got better ones than mine because
It's
I
not,
don't know
well,
about this.
no, they're
No,
not better.
no, I was going to see. We all put our stuff down. I was going to finish that with my washi tape isn't sticking. So I've tried a couple of things and it's not sticking. That's why I was going to say. But
So yeah.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
but
just
then you're
challenge
right.
yourself.
Like we all showed each other what we've made and got ideas from other people, right?
Exactly.
So
So here's a
yeah.
good question. How do you organize your scraps? And how about your works in progress?
Okay. My scraps, I have like a 12 by 12 plastic bag, or it might be a little bit different size, and I put them in colors. Even though I know we can use any piece of scrap. Look, this is from yesterday. Um, Something this size for me, even though I can use it on somewhere, I have to say let that go. And again, the scraps, like something that size, can still be used. So I will either I put it in a box and eventually, because I'll separate the things that I'm giving away to this is for the young kids. I will find, like I said, a daycare or somebody saying, here, your kids can play with this, right? Now I know card makers, I can understand. You're going to keep that because you will use it, keep it. But you have to make sure you use it. And I will go through my scraps every now and then, and because I'm only allowed that bag full. Okay. That's all. And when it gets too, if it's ripping or it gets too packed, it's like Trace, clean it out, get rid of some. So I'm very, can I say anal about that? Sorry.
Probably. Suzette said, I love Tracy's making with the washi tape last night. Can't wait to make some as soon as I can find mine. Yes, you got to find your washi tape. But if you're not a VIP, we made some really cool things just with washi tape, bookmarks and cards last night. Bookmarks and corner marks. I don't even know where my corner mark is. There it is. My corner mark. And did that last night. But that was just using what you had. And that's really, and I don't have anything. And I was able to make one, which is really beyond having a bit of washi tape Tracy gave me years ago. I was still able to make some. So it's fun. Marlene's in the process of moving and rearranging my craft area, so I have created a huge sorting mess in progress. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
We were talking about that with Leah earlier because Leah, who was our speaker just before this, did a Q&A. She's moving houses and having a house built. And she's a designer for, who's she a designer
Oh,
for?
sorry, for Pink Fresh. Pink
For
Fresh
Pink.
Studios. Sorry.
So she has all these cards that we were trying to help her figure out where they would go.
Yeah.
So if you're moving all your stuff, or do you move everything or do you let anything go? That can be a challenge.
It's a great, like, if you've got the time, it's better to do it before you leave. Like, before you move, get rid of it. Don't carry it from here to there to, you know, it is. So, and yes, it takes time, you know, it does. I know. You think I look at this little pile going, it won't take me long. But then I put a couple items in this box with these, embellishments, whatever. And then I'm like, well, I might as well clean that out at the same time, right? So it can take a long time, but it does feel good, and then it gives you an excuse to go get more going, look at that, I got space in this box now.
Yes. How many people? Yes. Does anybody ever put themselves on a I can't buy anything till I clean up moratorium? Like, yep, can't buy anything till I clean out this.
Yeah.
And do you live that?
That, or like I find that there's sometimes I'll be like, okay, like for me, it's I can buy any Christmas paper. I love Christmas stuff. Okay. Well, Trace, you have enough. So I'll be like, okay, you're not allowed Christmas stuff anymore until this much is used, right? And then I'm like, oh, I'm allowed to shop again. So, but
Susan,
yeah, I will restrict myself on things like that too.
Susan is I definitely save it. It drives me nuts when crafters die cut in the middle of their page paper and waste the rest of it. Goes back to being taught to get the most out of pattern pieces on fabric. Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I will try and use, like you said, get the most out of my paper. Um, but at the same time, then it's like, okay, that's enough. I know somebody else can have fun with it.
Suzette tries, but it doesn't always work. It's too easy. It's that wonderful. I mean, you guys have so many beautiful things that are out there that it's hard to resist, I would think, to buy different things and do that.
Mhm.
Here's a question for you. If somebody, we have a lot of scrapbookers, card makers, or we may have beginning scrapbookers. If they haven't done anything, if they're kind of new to this, what would you recommend they start with?
Okay, so for either or, card and scrapbooking,
No, for
right?
scrapbook, if somebody coming into the scrapbooking world, either they've never scrapbooked
Okay.
before or they're a card maker and they want to try to scrapbook, what would they start with? Do you have a recommendation?
Okay, and sorry, and again, I've got a lot of questions to your questions, I know, but you mean like product, right?
No,
Oh,
project.
project. Okay, okay. All right, thank you. Sorry, because I get that question often. So, in the like for products, so I'm like, no, for a project, and you want to, okay, so you
Well,
want to go,
product
I
comes
want to get
into it.
into the
So if I have
scrapbooking
nothing,
world.
like if I have nothing and I want to go in the scrapbooking
Yeah,
world, where do I start?
okay. Well, that's where I'd be like, okay, look, you have to go through your photos, or you don't have to go through every one, but or you might even know what pictures you already have. And I go, where do you want to start? And first of all, I always say I never ever would start with like heritage photos, especially when what you have is like the black and white photos, because those you don't want to mess up on, I say as much. I always say start with something that you know it's digital. If you mess up on this picture, you can print it out again or have it printed out, no problem. But then you want to start out with anything going, okay, well, what makes you happy or what do you want to cherish right now? It could be your family photos, it could be a trip you just did. Often it's because you just got married or somebody had a baby or you had a baby. You know, there's certain times I find people go, okay, I want to get into it now. So yeah, it just depends again, what going, okay, what's going to motivate you, right?
So
And then
Suzanne said, like me,
start.
how should I go about making my first scrapbook page? Now, Susan, we know you're a card maker, so you have a lot of toys
Mhm.
and things to play with. So what would you
Okay.
go about? So starting with the memories, what you're saying, starting with the
To me, yeah, it's like, what do you want to start working on? And then it's you look at those photos. See now, even though earlier I said I kind of start with my pages now, the paper, I started off for sure with the photos, and that still motivates me to pick certain papers too. So then you go, okay, this is my subject, and let's say it's a wedding. Then you're going to, look at those pictures and what colors are in the wedding, what colors are in the pictures. Often I'll say what were the colors like of the bride, like, the oh my goodness, why did I pick wedding dress? The, bridesmaids, grooms, and stuff like that, their colors, because that's what you're going to go with. And you got to find the matching paper. And here's
Mhm.
the whole long process. And then the embellishments or,
I was
things
going to
like
say
that. But
also another thing too is in our circle, but just this doesn't have to come from our circle, but in our scrapbooking circle, we have the challenge per month, and someone just created their first scrapbooking page based on our challenge. They don't scrapbook; they're card makers, and they've been card making with us for 6 or 7 months or 8 months or however long they've been there. And I know they posted in our group that they just created their first scrapbooking page because we gave them a challenge to try something different, and they took out and they did the scrapbooking page based on our theme, which, so having sometimes a spark of creativity can help. And I think that's what happens.
yes, and I say this to so many people too. If in your city, your town, there's a crop, like a scrapbook. It's a paper crafting event, basically, where people go and, they get together and they sit at the tables, their tables, and, they're whether they're scrapbooking, making cards, doing whatever they're doing. Some of them might be sewing, knitting, who cares what they're doing? But you walk around and get ideas from people. It's amazing what you see, just kind of like when you watch these videos or of course online, but in person sometimes, then you're like, how did you do that? And people are like, here, try this, use this tool. Or
So
there's so much, they're very friendly, I find to say, here you go, try it. I'll show you how I
created my
did that.
first ATC because of a group challenge. Exactly. Right. Yeah.
There.
Um, Angel, I just opened our scrapbooking fun circle page, and the person who did this asked a question today, which you haven't seen yet. So you can answer it here. I'm getting back into scrapbooking, but I don't know what kind of scrapbook to actually put my pages in.
Okay.
I like dimensions and interactive elements, so putting the pages in a plastic sleeve doesn't seem practical. Hit me up with some scrapbooks or binding inspirations.
So she doesn't want to put it in a plastic sleeve.
No.
I'm gonna see, part of me wants to say who is that, but that's okay. I'll look later. Because again, it depends on how high because I know there's a lot of mixed media and stuff that people will go a lot higher, right?
Well, she
Um,
posted her first page and it's not high. So,
I'm gonna have to see because
but generally taking the question a
it's
bit broader, what do you recommend people put their pages in?
well, because you do want a page protector, you do. And then basically a lot of put it this way, a lot of clients will ask, you've got your post bound and you've got your binder albums, right? And the post bound, people are going more to the binder because the annoyance of if you have to make the posts like put in another one and make them taller. People use, I know the scrapbookers listening know what I'm talking about, because then you've got to press down and try not to mess things up. However, those albums, I find when you open them up, the pages are closer together. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so if you're doing a two-page layout, they blend nicer together. Does that make
Makes
sense?
sense. Yes.
Whereas when you do a binder album, they'll open up just like a binder, right? So they're not as close together. So, because I will use both albums depending on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Right.
sometimes it could be depending on the color of the album, going, if it's a wedding album, my God, that album is just the perfect color, right? Um, Heritage stuff, I don't know why I have to stick with the postbound. That's me, right? But when like the pictures, the layouts here, they're going to go in a binder album. They will.
Does anybody make
So
disc-bound scrapbooks?
the disc bound, are you talking like,
Kind of like a happy planner, a disc, like a disc bound.
thank you. That's the disc I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Really, I don't think so, to be honest with you. And again, because with the way things are last few years, there's less and less companies making albums. So, now, can you make one yourself? Probably, you
Yeah.
know,
Good.
probably.
Another thing to do.
Yeah.
So do people make, like, you can buy albums made? Do people make front and back covers, or do they buy front and back covers?
Well, okay, the albums that I'm talking about, the postbound or
Mm-hmm.
um the binder ones, those are made albums. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so they're made. However, a lot of them are might just have, they might be red, green, blue, whatever color you pick. Can you put something on top? Sure you can,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you've got, well, of course, chipboard albums. I should have had some handy. Sorry, I can go run and get some, but there you can definitely put, um,
Like your own.
anything, pictures, photos, embellishments on top for sure. Um, It just always depends. And then you've got a lot of the small binder albums, like the snap binders, from Simple Stories and that, as those, and Echo Park has some. They're like the 6x8 ones. Those are, because again, it's going to be a whole different layout or different pages that you're doing in them. They're more and more popular over the last few years, and that's something that you can put anything on top as well. So yeah.
Do they have 12 by 12 disbounded protectors? So that's what she's looking. You'd have to kind of make your own protectors,
Mm,
I would think.
yeah, I do not, honestly, Susan, I don't think they do. I know
Something
it's
to
weird.
ask.
I can't go look for that right now because
No.
sometimes when people ask and Heather and I are talking, it's like, Heather, you talk and I'll go Googling, go looking, but I'm gonna write it
Google's our
down. I
friend for
just,
these things. Yeah. You have to check out Google.
yeah.
But there's a lot of different ways to put your pages and protect them and do them, basically. A
Mm,
lot of different
I
albums. Um, so that makes sense. Different ways of doing it. Yeah, you have to go into the circle and answer the question because I can't answer the question.
And now saying that, I'm also wondering, going, let's say you were doing it, part of me would go, okay, I would take an old page protector or something, you take some of the cheaper ones going, hmm, can I cut something off and make it the disbound, like the disc go through this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And not wreck your layout. I'd,
Susan says
go,
it's
can
okay.
you,
I was just asking, but now you've got Tracy curious about it,
well,
so she's
yeah.
really going to like investigate. But it's all good, and that's an element of what Tracy is with her company, right? Is that, hey, is there something out there that does this, and that, to honestly,
Mhm.
that's what makes Tracy excited. I can always tell her body language changes when she's like, oh, I got to go figure out where I can get this from. So if looking for something that you couldn't find, Tracy's a great resource. She might not have it or know of it, but she'll go looking for it. She'll go seeing what's out there and doing that. And because she is a shop, she gets previews of stuff that's coming out. She's not allowed to talk about them until they come out, but you do get previews of things as well. So she can go, oh yeah. And one thing, it's on Tracy's email today, what we put it out is go like Tracy's page in Facebook, because she posts her Wacky Wednesdays, which is new products coming out. So even if you're not able to buy from Tracy, you're going to get a view of what's coming out, and you can go look and see where that is. So it's in the email that we sent out today saying that Tracy was our sponsor. You can click on her Facebook, go to her Facebook page, like her Facebook page, and then you'll be able to see what's going on in her Wacky Wednesdays things. I'll go test out a little page protector to get out the disc punch. Yeah, exactly. It's all about testing things out and doing things and trying things. So
I'm very, very curious.
Yeah. Let us know, Susan. So let us know. That's all. That's the fun part about this whole community of just trying things and doing things. And it's one of the reasons Tracy and I, if you're a VIP, come and check out the circle. If you're not, you're welcome to join. If you're non-VIP, there's a 15% discount. That's why we created our circle, and why we've been teasing Susan is Susan's part of our circle. So we can tease her and talk to her about it. And other ones have been here. We created it to create an environment where you can have these conversations and you can talk about it. And we had someone who had a ruler that she had bought many years ago and was looking for where she could get the ruler again. And some other people looked and she found it. She's like, oh, here, I found it. And just by having it and having that discussion, and just prompts other ideas. And so the reason we created this circle was to bring people together around the world who are crafting together and just have some fun and do this, not just on a summit, but do it more often versus just twice a year. So doing it more often, and a circle has been a wonderful creation. So if you're a VIP, you have a month that you can come and check it out, and then 20% off. If you're not a VIP, you can either become a VIP or you can join the circle through your link at 15% off. And for those Aussies
who are in Heather, so we can see you half and half, eh?
Oh yeah, I come back half and half. I don't need to.
Come on, I invite you in.
Wrong one. There we go. And also, we try to vary the time. So we do have Australian members in the circle because we do them at 7 o'clock at night. We do them at 4 in the afternoon right now, which would be morning time for you. So we try to vary the time to hit all the time zones around the world, because there's a lot of time zones around the world, and everything is recorded. So if you do see the circle, we have an expert that comes in each month. Debbie's been an expert for us. She's in there somewhere. They come in each month and we keep those recordings, and you can watch the recordings. And so it's not just co-crafting. We also do at least one workshop a month. And then we have a challenge, which is to get out your stuff and do it and try these things. And that's really what it's about. It's about playing with what you have and maybe buying something new. But it's about primarily focused on playing with what you have and trying it out and doing different things. So if you're interested in the circle, come and join us. I need to do it again. You're always welcome back, Debbie.
We'll think about it, Debbie.
But it's fun because it's unlike the classes that you get on a summit where you're not live. The circle classes are live. So you can ask questions as they're doing it. We've had some craft along ones, kind of like what we did in the crop last night. We've had everything from kind of a general question to trying different topics. So we've got lots of different things that come on, and it's a lot of fun.
So everything is based on kind of who's part of the circle, who's part of the group. So, because we do a lot of, okay, there's more, whatever, we're 50% and 50% card makers, 50% scrapbookers, or no, we're 90% this, 10% that, or people want to learn more about this subject. I listen a lot to what people say. So, because we try to get a variety of people in there, but it will depend, or whatever time works. It all depends on who's there, what time works for people. When, because there's times Heather and I are like, well, I guess we shouldn't have done it at this time. There was nobody there, right? It's not really that bad, Heather, but
we're excited to see Lucina just joined the circle. So we're excited to see you. Our first one coming up is on Thursday at 7 p.m. and it's a general cutting course. And so cutting questions. So Julie, who's one of our circle members, wanted to do a presentation on cutting machines and that. So it's going to be great. She's very knowledgeable. So we're going to have that. And so it's a combination of things that we do. So we're excited to see you there. We just craft sometimes. We have people who come to the circle who don't actually craft. They just sit and listen and chat. And tell stories. So it's been a lot of fun. And I just had something I was going to say, and it went in and out of my head. Hate when that happens. Had to do with
Story
Debbie.
of my life.
It had to do with Debbie. Oh, I know what it was. Debbie, you have to go back and watch. I've been talking a long time. Debbie, you have to go back and watch Lisa Horton's one, because somewhere in the middle of it, all of a sudden we had fireworks going off, and we don't know how it happened. Lisa did something. We don't know what it was. And we don't, because it wasn't us, as far as we know. And all of a sudden, the whole screen, and there were fireworks going off behind her. And you know Lisa enough to know she's not very technical either. So we don't know where the fireworks came from, Debbie. You would have enjoyed that.
Yeah, and we thought of you.
Yes, we don't know what they happened. All of a sudden, fireworks went off in the background, and she was laughing because she didn't know how they are. And great, listen, if you're new to this is a great place to be. It's such a welcoming community in that. So come and join us. And for anyone else who's here, come and join us. Let us come and join the circle if it's something you want to do. Come back tomorrow. We're going to have to go because Tracy's got to go see Bruce Springsteen. I don't know why, but she's got to go see Bruce Springsteen.
Sorry. No, I'm not.
Tomorrow we have 7 lives, 8 lives if you include the wrap up. We are on tomorrow with a lot of really great speakers. Debbie's with us tomorrow. Debbie, what time are you on? Because I don't remember. 3, 2, 2 or 3? 3. Debbie's at 3. We kick off with me at 10 o'clock in the morning. So there you go. We get to reverse this, and Tracy gets to interview me tomorrow morning at 10. And then we finish, for your Aussies, we finish with Alicia, who people love her designs and her printables, at 6:30 our time.
5:30.
5:30 our time, 8:30 your time. One of those things. So we will be around with a lot of stuff tomorrow. We have a lot of great speakers we'll be talking to, a lot of new ones and a lot of our returning ones. So it's a mix of
I'm
new
really
people.
curious to meet some of them.
Yeah, and it's a mix of returning ones. So we are going to sign off so Tracy can get ready to go party. And if Tracy has no voice tomorrow, you will know why.
You want me to sing now?
No.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. And we appreciate you coming and joining us live. We appreciate anybody who's watching the replays. Check out your VIP package. If you're a VIP, use your bonuses before they expire, because some of them do expire. And there's a lot of great value in there. If you're not a VIP, it's still available. The price will go up when the summit ends. And thank you so much for being with us. We really appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.